superficially, you'd think that the Nikon 1S2 is a little less camera than I'd be interested in. My ideal camera is small and light. Check. Has interchangeable lenses. Check. Full manual control. Check. Saves RAW. Check. And has a viewfinder. No.
I used to think that I needed a 4/3 or larger sensor, but the excellent pictures from Sony's 1-inch sensor convinced me to reset that, and the S2's sensor is 1-inch, so we're batting 800. You'd be very impressed, even if you never took it out of auto mode. And when it's too cold to wear your glasses or take your hands out of your mittens, and the photographer has a predilection to shoot into the sun, that's a big win. Gotta be happy with these photos. Rarely been so happy with so many photos from a winter walk. Lots of crisp detail. And shooting RAW, lots of room for post-processing. Tiny grip on the back, very slippery on the front. Wrist strap gave me security. Micro SD cards only, HDMI and USB. Not so many buttons. On, off, shutter and video record across the top, and the pop-up flash, which tilts back nicely for a softer flash, a feature I like. But the flash is poorly suited to the lens, casting a shadow if you're too close. Playback, menu, control wheel, and erase on the back, along with the LCD, non-articulated, slightly disappointing. Nikon has some, but not many, 1 series lenses. This kit includes the 10-30, that's 25-81 in 35mm terms. It'd be better if it wasn't zoom by wire, which is hard to manage, particularly for video. The turning distance from zoomed out to in is variable, so I'm repositioning my hand every half turn or so, kind of jerky. On screen in auto mode, there's an invitation to press OK for live image control, 4 settings to adjust contrast, aperture, shutter speed, and exposure value using beginner terms like background softening. If you don't care what the numbers are and you don't want access to settings that would be out of exposure range, this can be useful. Press Menu and you enter into a video game-like system where it seems you have to earn your way to more advanced levels. Let's change from Auto to Creative, which presents this control wheel, the Creative Palette. Spin the dial for selection of scene-appropriate effects. Not really sure what I'm getting. Press F on top of the control wheel and you're on your way. Press OK to change out of Creative Palette. First, HDR, extending dynamic range. I found it made a slight difference. The S2 has somewhat fewer effects than average. Soft, miniature, selective color. After you select, press F again to see what options are available. For example, for toy, there are 3 levels of saturation and 3 of vignetting. This is the best selective color picker I've seen. Then Program, Shutter or Aperture Priority, and Manual. In shutter mode, 30 seconds to 1/16,000th. In manual, bulb is available. Aperture f3.5 wide, ramps to 5.6, closes to f16. 3 auto ISO modes, depending on how far you're prepared to go. 200 to 12.8. Detail in these bricks goes at 1600, gets progressively worse to 12.8, but you can try 12.8 NR. Press the right side of the control dial for EV adjustments 3 up and 3 down. I do like these interactive displays. The lens has a nice bokeh, but in low light the maximum aperture forces the ISO to 6400, which is really soft. There's a 32mm f1.2 or an 18mm 1.8 that would be better. Auto, single, continuous, or manual focus, and now it gets a little weird. The lens only has a zoom ring, so press OK to focus, move the expanded view window to what you're focusing on, and spin the control wheel from 20 centimeters to infinity. Yes, it's as awkward as it sounds. Expanded view zoom can be set in the menu. There are auto, single point, and tracking area settings. Go to the menu for face priority defined and focus on faces. I like the left-right navigation in this menu better than the 10 odd-shaped areas of the other menu. But why are there 4 navigation models? This screen, this dial, this odd and hard-to-navigate pop-up, and the side scroller, which is the best. Let's just get all the controls here, shall we? 3 exposure metering modes, 6 photo styles, the mandatory white balance options. There's RAW, but not RAW plus JPEG. Manual controls to meet all the basic enthusiast needs. So now, drive modes, which have their own position on the dial, single, continuous, and timer, but navigate right to find 5 burst modes, continuous, which is useful, taking 6 shots per second, slowing to 2 or 3 per second after about 40 JPEG shots. Not the best I've seen, but impressive. Other modes go faster, 10 to 60 frames per second, but stop completely after 10 frames, faster but limited, exceeding expectations here. The menu also serves up movie mode. Here's its context menu, scene mode, auto and manual modes, 1080 and 720 at 60 and 30 frames. 1080-60 has a maximum recording time of 10 minutes, more in other modes. Yes, full manual, but the shutter doesn't go below 1/60th in video. All focus modes are available, and autofocus works nicely, but this is at f16 on a nice bright day. This shot is actually slightly overexposed. I shoot video in shutter priority at 1/60th. Even with f16 and ISO 200, it really needs some ND. The S2 has some unusual video modes, like slow motion at an amazing 400 frames per second, stretching a 2-second recording to 26 seconds of low-quality playback. Fast motion condensing 20 seconds to 5, as well as jump cut, which records 1 second every other second. All 3 are silent. And 4-second movie mode, which is not. It stops recording after 4 seconds, the idea being that you take a bunch of these and stitch them together. Well, fun. But I doubt that you or I would actually use these. No, the HDMI does not provide live output while you're recording. Movie and still menu functions are independent, so they're repeated on the movie settings menu, but you'll also find sound level control and auto image capture, which takes 1 or 4 images per minute while you're recording video. At my shutter rate of 1/60th, though, you don't get great photos. Anyway, interesting, could be useful. You can also take photos manually while recording video. More fun. In best moment capture, the S2 takes 10 shots with a single shutter press. Then you can go back and select 1 to keep, or keep all 10. Option here to take 5 before and 5 after the shutter, or just 10 before. And motion snapshot. 1.5 seconds of video and your photo. Silent, not silent, or twee music. In playback, you can slideshow, crop and resize, and combine those short movies into a longer one. It doesn't have Wi-Fi, but there's an optional adapter, and I could list some other features I'd like to have, like a histogram or a tilting LCD.
While the Nikon 1S2 doesn't have everything you'd want, it does offer a lot more than I expected. The awkwardness of adjusting the controls make it best for auto shooting, which it's very good at.